Hello YouTubers and everyone out there. I'm going to make a video. I'm going to talk about North Korea. Since all the hype's going on about North Korea, I want to talk about it a little bit. North Korea has been doing missile tests since 2003. They have a long legacy, which most of you know, that the North Korean dictator, his father and his grandfather both ran North Korea. The whole North Korean War, which we should have never walked away from when we had the opportunity. MacArthur wanted to bomb China. We should have took them when we had the chance. We could have won and we would never have these problems. But it didn't happen, and it would have been an act of aggression to an extent, but not really, because China sent in so many soldiers into North Korea. We had the full right to bomb them. We could have easily won the war if we had done a full-scale, all-out attack, and we wouldn't have this communist problem in China. And one thing that's really weird to me is how Asians are so weird. The North Koreans and China both are so afraid to lose face. They want everything to look perfect. North Korea has these big stores, supermarket stores, full of clothing and food, but you can't buy anything. It's a show. It's all a show, so when people come to visit, it looks like North Korea is prosperous. The North Korean people are told every day that they're the wealthiest country in the world. They're the most free country of all mankind, and everyone else is enslaved, bunch of heathens stomped into the dirt, just miserable scum. So the North Korean people are very brainwashed, and it's not their fault. I mean, there are some that escape on a regular basis. Very difficult to escape out of that country. And South Korea does these great campaigns of sending parachutes and balloons over into North Korea, dropping propaganda and DVDs, Western DVDs, music, all kinds of stuff, which is a great idea. But I'm so anti-war, especially in that Syria deal. I don't believe for a minute that Assad had anything to do with it. That beside the point. North Korea is a different story. If they ever got nuclear weapons, we would be held hostage for the rest of our lives. What would you do? If North Korea had nuclear weapons that could reach China, Russia, and the U.S., what would we do? These people, their dictators, are not rational to the extent that we are rational. Because the reason is because they are treated as a god, and they are raised up in a household by their fathers as a god. So their rationality is totally different than anyone else's. They have a total different experience in life. They don't have the limitations that a normal human does. So that's why they're so dangerous. Even though they may not be suicidal, their reality is so skewed. So I believe that it's very necessary to disarm North Korea. Hopefully China can do it in a peaceful way, which is skeptical that they'd ever do it peacefully. They'd probably lie and hide their program or whatever is probably what would happen. So I think that something has to be done. They had this big thing out, all these foreign reporters telling them Thursday this big thing, special thing's going to happen, and then they disclosed this new housing development, 3,500 homes, high rises, and all this stuff. And one reporter wrote, well, I guess it is kind of a big deal because they have so many sanctions against them from Western countries, and they still are able to build this and keep moving on. But anyway, they always make a big deal out of every single thing that they do. If they do something, they convince the people that this is the most awesome, amazing project ever. I don't see any other way. If you watch North Korean documentaries, I'm going to go back a little bit. I don't know how many of you have, but I have searched for North Korean documentaries. And it's just amazing at the oppression. It's totally different than the Middle East. The Middle East is a culture of religion, where people are convinced into a religion. North Korea is to serve their dear leader who hates them and treats them like dirt. They're much easier. I don't think they're quite as indoctrinated as a whole as the Middle East. it's a different scenario. I really think that you could liberate these people. I think it could be an honorable thing. It has to be done right. But I watched a documentary a few years ago about this doctor. I believe he's from Spain. He's a a surgeon, an eye surgeon. He goes into North Korea and does like 5,000 free cataract surgeries in like 3 weeks or whatever the allotted time was. He does these cataract surgeries, and it has a difficult time for the North Korean government to allow him. They finally allow him into the country. He does these, and he has all these people lined up. He removes the bandages from their eyes, and they can see for the first time. Many of them are almost totally blind or blind. They can see. And immediately they run to the front of the room and fall on their knees in front of the picture of their dear leader and praise him, saying that it's all only because of him that we can see. He gave us sight. That's how brainwashed they are, even though this doctor was barely allowed into the country. But, you know, propaganda, it works. There's no doubt about it. We need to learn how to use propaganda better. North Korea is a sore on the back of the world that needs to be eliminated and changed. Do I want war? No. But I don't know if there's any other way to make North Korea get rid of their nuclear program. They cannot have it. It's even more dangerous than Iran having it. We have to stop the nuclear programs, and what really makes me mad is that it's the West's fault, because the United States was involved in selling them reactors and all kinds of stuff. The greed for money is constantly making Israel, China, and the United States to sell dangerous weapons to third world countries. And that should be a criminal offense. That should be international law that it's not allowed. That no country ever is allowed to sell any nuclear or chemical weapon to another country, ever. That at least that would limit it to that country had to come up with it on their own. It should not be allowed to be sold. I don't even know if weapons should be allowed to be sold. I actually think that would be a great idea, that no weapon can be sold to another country. They have to be produced in that country. Why not? It would make the world a much safer place. And it has nothing to do with freedom of anything, because if you live in that country, you're allowed to do what you want, but you don't sell weapons to other countries. That should be international law. I mean, tell me what you think about it. I'm not going to make a very long video, but I want to talk a little bit about North Korea. I hope this gets solved. I see them as a major threat. I don't want war, but I want their nuclear program to be stomped out. I want them to have to get rid of it one way or another. And hopefully, I know that Trump is playing hard with China right now, trying to get China on board and have them do it. They're the most effective at it. They would be the most capable of stopping North Korea without bombing. But we'll see what happens, and that's it. Peace.